Good morning, everyone. This is Todd Lamb, Assistant Commissioner for Communications at the Southland Conference. I want to thank you for your participation today as we join Central Arkansas head coach Clint Conque and Sam Houston State head coach Willie Fritz on this call to preview their second-round opponents in the playoffs. Central Arkansas will play at Georgia Southern Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, and Sam Houston State will play host to Cal Poly. That game is Saturday at 3 p.m. Central. Both games are available on ESPN3. We do have one other Southland Conference team in action on Saturday. That's a non-conference game that was rescheduled from the opening week of the season. Nicholls State plays at Oregon State. That game is Saturday at 1:30 Central Time on the Pac-12 network. A few notes. We're thrilled to have two teams in the second round of the playoffs this year. It's the second straight year that we've had two teams reach the second round or in the second round of the playoffs. It's the third time in the last 4 years the Southland Conference has placed multiple teams. It's the eighth time since 2000 that's happened as well. So definitely thrilled to have that happening again this year. Looks like we're having a few more folks join us here on the call. Let me go over a few guidelines for the call today. We do restrict the call to official news gathering media members only. The general public, including fans and fan websites, are prohibited from participating during the live call. We ask that you do not place the call on hold or use the speakerphone function at any time while on the call today. I have muted all lines. To ask a question, you will need to unmute your line by pressing *6. You can remute your line with the same command as well when you're done asking a question. And we do ask that you leave the call muted when you're not participating live. Media, prior to asking a question, we would ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization and be mindful of other media on the call. And limit follow-up questions so that everyone may have an opportunity to ask the coach a question. Any violation of these guidelines may lead to immediate disconnection from the call, which is at my sole discretion. All right. Coach Conque, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right. Joined now by Clint Conque, the head coach at Central Arkansas. The Bears visit Georgia Southern Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time on ESPN3. Coach, would you like to make an opening statement about being in the playoffs and what you know about your opponent?
Sure. We are certainly tremendously excited about being in the postseason again this season. Certainly when we made this move and transition into FCS Division I, it was always maintain our goal to play at the national level and be competitive. Certainly, last couple of years, we've had those teams that has allowed us to do that. I'm certainly very proud of our football team, how they handled the regular season, and I like their maturity and approach, to our postseason preparation as well. Georgia Southern, outstanding football team this year, outstanding tradition and program overall since they brought the sport back in, the early 80s. 6 national championships, 19 or 20 postseason appearances. Extremely talented team. The most prolific rushing team, I believe, in the country, right at 400 yards a game. Playing a very highly competitive conference in the Southern Conference. Very well coached by Coach Munkin and his staff. I have some familiarity with Coach Curtis and Kevin Corliss, the co-defensive coordinator, has been one of those guys for a while. Very talented, very disciplined, very hard-nosed, very physical football team, and they're a very talented group that will be, tough to contend with in Paulson Stadium. We do have a little bit of history at Paulson in 2006, which was our first year in FCS. We were very, very fortunate to win an overtime game there, but that was a different staff, different team. Certainly our team is different as well. So, with that said, we need to have a great week of preparation and look forward to traveling to Georgia this Friday.
Central Arkansas is 9-2 overall, 6-1, co-champion of the Southland Conference. The Bears did clinch the automatic qualifying spot for the Southland by virtue of its regular season victory against Sam Houston State back in September. Media, we'll open it up for questions now. I do ask that you to unmute your line, press *6, and then remute your line after asking a question. And then please identify yourself by name and media organization. Questions? Coach, talk a little bit about, I know we have media on the call. Again, press *6, but talk a little bit about making, out of 3 years of eligibility for the Division I playoffs, making appearances each of the last 2 years.
Pretty neat deal for our school. We've been postseason eligible, as you said, for 3 years, and actually lost a close game to Sam Houston, the second to last playing date in 2010, or might have quite possibly made it 3 years in a row. But, being a new member of FCS recently, last 6 years, I guess, when we left Division II, we were playing at the national level and highly competitive there. And always our goal to, once we got through with the transition and postseason eligibility, is to get back to that level again. And a lot of players have come through our program in the last 6 years to make the last couple very possible. And certainly we're very proud of our team, and won some close games at home and on the road, and I think that's a good quality to have when you enter the postseason.
Questions for Coach Conque? Media, again, you'll need to unmute your line by pressing *6 to ask the question. Coach, talk about your numerous, you had 10 first-team All-Southland Conference selections, another 3 on the second team, and another 4 that received honorable mention honors. Talk about those and Winrick Smothers among the individual award winners this year.
Yeah, very, very pleased for those young men and their families. That recognition, certainly to be honored. 17 selections overall, I guess, counting honorable mention by the conference coaches and SIDs. Speaks well for those young men, and certainly all of those young men and their teammates. Played at a high level this year consistently over the entire season, starting with Ole Miss and ending with Eastern Illinois. And you mentioned Winrick Smothers. He's our first-year starter at quarterback, with a lot of question marks concerning that position, replacing All-American and All-Conference player from last year. And Winrick really invested and committed during the off-season and spring and throughout the summer, and you could see his growth and development throughout camp and certainly throughout the season. And I thought that he played, his biggest games in the biggest moments. And certainly we're going to go as he goes. And but he'd also tell you, not only those young men that made all conference, but that offensive line and his teammates and so forth really allowed him to do the things that he was able to accomplish in the regular season. So I know he's anxious and looking forward to getting into postseason competition as well.
And obviously he's a finalist for the Walter Payton Award. Talk about what that means to have a guy like that.
Yeah, significant position to be in for our football program. It brings obviously prestige to him and to our team and to our program, and certainly he's a tremendous individual talent and very efficient, and to be a finalist for that particular award, a prestigious award like that, I think speaks well for him and for our program.
I am going to unmute all lines right now in case we're having some issues where the commands aren't working. If you do want to mute your own line, I will let you do
all
that.
guests have been unmuted.
All right, so everybody is now unmuted, and hopefully that will help facilitate some media participation in the call this morning. Coach, obviously a couple other award winners. Corey Howard was the Offensive Lineman of the Year. Talk about, his contributions there on the O-line, and also Jonathan Woodard on the defensive line as Freshman of the Year.
Yeah, really happy for Corey. Corey was the one of two returning starters on the offensive line heading into this season. Moved Corey from guard to center and made a significant contribution there at guard, but moving him to center was really a real positive. Number one, making all of our calls and so forth, most experience on the line. He started all 4 years, 40-some-odd games, including postseason. I thought he really embraced it, first of all, mentally. Number two, he played extremely well. He's a tenacious young man, quality individual, and certainly he was able to help mature a young offensive line throughout the season. Very happy for Corey. Jonathan Woodard, Freshman of the Year. I think that's our second Freshman of the Year we've had in the conference in the last few years. 6'6", 252-pound defensive end out of the Nashville, Tennessee area. The sky is there's just no ceiling with how good this young man can be if he makes the commitment and the things that he needs to do to get bigger and stronger and faster. And we've had some pretty good defensive ends that have gone on to get drafted here, and certainly he has a very high ceiling. And I think this type of recognition will certainly motivate him to attempt to reach his full potential over the next 3 years. Long, athletic guy.
We're talking with Clint Conque, the head coach at Central Arkansas, who was the Southland Conference Coach of the Year this year, also a finalist for the Eddie Robinson Award for the FCS Coach of the Year. Media, questions for Coach Conque?
Yeah, Coach, Sean Kinney with ESPN. Talk about the development of Smothers, and if you could narrow it down, what have been the biggest areas of improvement for him to step up and have the type of year that he has had? I know you mentioned he followed an All-American. Was there a good relationship there? And then how has he been able to take the lead role this year?
Well, first of all, he did have a great relationship with Nathan Dick. I thought that they both helped each other prepare very well over the last couple of years. Winrick, when Dick graduated, he obviously realized that he had the opportunity through competition to be the starter of this year, and I really thought that he took ownership and really put a stamp on this team. And initially, he did it by example, just working. And now he's become more of a vocal leader in the face of our football, our offense and our football team. High character guy, hard worker, a winner. He backed up Jordan Jefferson for 2 years in high school. Of course, Jefferson went on to LSU, and then played sparingly, but played some. And then his senior year promptly led Destrehan High School to a 15-0 state championship. And I think the biggest thing that he's done is fundamentally he's improved. He's very good in the pocket, good pocket awareness, makes good decisions with the football. I think he's 31 or 32 touchdowns to only 9 interceptions, and a couple of those were deflected passes out of the secondary. But he's very accurate, strong arm, can make all the throws. And the thing that he brings to our offense that we didn't have with Nathan Dick is mobility. And he's been able to extend plays, fundamentally keep his eyes downfield and throw completions, as well as tuck it and run and make positive yards when plays break down. And again, he still has another level or two that he can get to as a quarterback. I think the biggest question mark with Winrick coming to the season was, could he stay healthy the entire season? because his redshirt freshman year and his sophomore year, even though he was a backup and played significant snaps and had one start last year, he didn't finish either one of those 2 seasons healthy. This year he's been relatively healthy, and I think that preparation, that physical preparation that he put in, has paid dividends for him and for our team.
Other questions for Coach Conque at Central Arkansas?
Coach, this is Don Heath with the Savannah Morning News. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Don. Thank you.
How do you prepare for the triple option offense that you're going to see on Saturday, and has the extra week helped in that preparation?
Well, I was going to call Coach Rick and see if he could bring me some players from Georgia down to Statesboro. That would probably help us. It's a very obviously unique offense that we do not see in our conference very much. I would think the closest would be Sam Houston State, who we play obviously every year. So there could be a little bit of carryover in some areas to that. The open date has helped us because we were able to get a couple of, or the bye week, I should say, was able to help us because we were able to get about 3 practices in last week, and then come back and get 4 more prep days, good prep days this week, and it's a very difficult offense. They're very talented at quarterback and at running back. They have a couple of big play receivers, when they get the ball in their hands, and of course, as always, just tenacity and nasty up front on their defense. On their offensive line. So very difficult to prepare for. Obviously, the bye week has helped in some regard. The thing that you can't simulate in practice, you can get the schemes and so forth, but the thing you can't simulate is the speed of the game. And so we're actually working some good against good offensively to try to simulate the speed of the game. But they're very talented, very physical.
Other questions for Coach Conque at Central Arkansas?
This is John Bunning with ESPN. Coach Bunning, I did your game last year in Cookeville.
Yes, sir.
And I watched Nathan Dick. He had a terrific game. You guys played extremely well. I guess with the new quarterback, then you added another wrinkle to your offense. Is that something that you decided last spring?
Well, I think that those wrinkles were always there. I just think that we were able to expand them a little bit with Smothers' athletic ability. Since I've been here for 13 years, we've had certain staple concepts that we run each and every year, and we're going to, hang our hat on those concepts for the most part. Try to recruit to that. But every year, your football team's different. We went there in 2006 and were fortunate to win. That team was completely different from the team that we have now, which is different from the team that you saw a little bit in Cookeville. But Smothers does allow us to expand the playbook a little bit. He's been in our offense for 4 years now as a redshirt junior, and because of his athleticism and his ability to change the launch point in the pass game periodically to run some more zone read option things, then he's allowed us to do that and has executed it fairly well. And again, most years and most programs, you're going to go as your quarterback goes, and our young man has really responded and played well.
Thank you.
Anything else for Coach Conque today?
Coach Sean Kenny once again here. One more for you. Your balance at the receiving position, is this something that you saw coming in where you would spread the balls out like you have with Kroom and Lewis and Grandy?
Yeah, 3 very talented young men. Dominique Kroom has been here for 4 years, a 4-year starter, and one of the all-time leading receivers. And he's got some length and size and speed. Grandy is a speed guy that has given us the ability to stretch the field opposite of Kroom. And then Lewis is another big guy that can run and just a sophomore and has made some big plays and big moments for us this year. I think that, we don't really target a receiver. It's going to be based on reads and concepts. I think the thing that you do see, though, is that Smothers has a tremendous amount of confidence in going to all those guys, as well as several others in the backside of the backfield, and those guys have combined for 60 some odd catches as well. So, and we play a little bit more of a running back by committee than maybe some teams do, but we think that we're most effective when we can get in and out of formations and spread the ball around. And we're very blessed and fortunate for many years, and particularly this year, to have some exciting playmakers at the wide receiver position. And we were talking the other day, and we've had some really good ones that have come through. Maybe those three are the best trio that we've had at one time here at the university. And that makes your quarterback, a whole lot better when he can, get it to some dynamic guys, both down the field, intermediately, and in the screen game. So very fortunate to have those guys, and they're all healthy, and that's what's important.
Coach John Bunning again, looking at your two from, I guess, right before Eastern Illinois, are there any dramatic changes to your lineups in your 2D?
Yes, sir. We had two young men that were hurt in the McNeese game, in a very physical game down in Lake Charles. Backup, he started at offensive tackle, 6'7", 320-pound redshirt freshman Kyle Stouffer. He is back. He played against Eastern Illinois, and he is in the 2 deep at right tackle on the offensive line. And then Marvin Mitchell had broke his forearm in that game, early in that game, and that's been some 6 weeks ago now, and he was cleared to practice last week, and he will be in the 2 deep at safety as well. So, we still have, your typical bumps and bruises that we're treating and healing and protecting and that kind of thing that everybody has at this point in the year, but it's all hands on deck this week, and we'll definitely need everyone that can be available. And with the fact that you can only dress and or travel 60, you need to make sure that everybody that's on that plane is going to have an opportunity, if called upon, to be able to play. But we'll get those two young men back, an offensive tackle and a safety.
Very good. Is there any other offensive players that we should look for you to get into the game besides the guys in the 2 deep?
Probably not. That's in a 2 deep. I do want to mention Jackie Hinton Jr., our starting running back. I think Todd can echo this. I mean, he was a second-team selection. And when you have a young offensive line early in the year, and our run game didn't really come around till mid-season and beyond, and he is really running the football with authority. He's had his best games the last 4 or 5 games, and he's certainly catching the ball extremely well out of the backfield. So a fifth-year guy, and was our starter last year, so he has postseason experience as well. So you have the 3 receivers, the quarterback, the tailback, all those guys. Have been key components for any success that we've had offensively this year.
All right,
anything else? Mr. Bunning, I got a question for you. Was your son a linebacker at Georgia Southern back in 2006?
I have not had any relatives play linebacker there. I've played linebacker, but not any relatives.
Okay, all right. I think there was a Bunning that played at Georgia Southern back in 2006. He was a heck of a football player. But
that's right. I did 2 of their playoff games last year as well. They're a fun team. That's a great venue for you to be playing. I think you'll be really excited to be there.
Absolutely. We had the fortune and maybe misfortune of going to Montana last year, another great environment, and certainly that should hopefully have some carryover into the environment we're going into this week. The difference, it'll be about 50 degrees warmer.
Great field, by the way. Really groomed field for you there at Georgia, at least it was last year.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks for your participation, Clint, and wish you the best of luck Saturday at Georgia Southern. Again, that game time is Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, available on ESPN3.
Thanks, Todd.
You bet. Thank you. We'll move on now to Willie Fritz, the head coach at Sam Houston State. The Bearkats play host to Cal Poly, number 12 ranked Cal Poly. The Bearcats are number 5 this week. That game is Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Time, also on ESPN 3. Sam Houston finished the regular season 8-3 overall, and 6-1 in conference play, tied Central Arkansas for the conference championship. Willie, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right. How about just a general statement about being back in the playoffs after such an incredible run last year as an at-large selection from the Southland?
Well, we're very excited about being back in the playoffs. I want to also make sure I congratulate Clint and UCA. Had an outstanding season, and we wish them well down in Georgia. This is big for our program. This is the first time that Sam Houston has been to the NCAA playoffs back-to-back years, and that was one of our goals coming into the season, is to be one of those teams that people talk about year in and year out, and we're going toward that direction. Got a heck of an opponent in Cal Poly. I didn't know a whole lot about him prior to being paired with them when the brackets came out a couple weeks ago, but they've got an excellent tradition and really have we pattern, I guess, our ball club the same way that they do as far as philosophies. They're going to run the ball. One of the top running teams in the country, play very sound defense and don't turn the ball over. Very solid in the kicking game. So heck of an opponent, and we look forward to the game on Saturday at 3 o'clock.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Willie Fritz, the head coach at Sam Houston State. Media, we do ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization prior to asking a question. Coach, talk about year 10. You had 10 first-team all-conference selections, another 6 named to the second team, and then you had 7 honorable mention selections. Talk about dominating the postseason awards for the conference.
Well, particularly the last 5 games of the year in conference, we really played well. Probably the best we've played maybe since I've been here on all 3 phases. When all conference teams are announced, generally speaking, most of the guys get what they deserve, and some guys maybe get a team higher than what they deserve, and sometimes guys get a team lower than what they deserve. But I was very proud of our guys. A lot of returning all-conference guys, led by Defensive Player of the Year, Darnell Taylor. He just established a career record here at Sam Houston, actually broke the record of Stan Blinka, who played here at Sam Houston in the 70s and actually started for the New York Jets for 5 seasons, but he broke his individual solo tackle record here at Sam Houston. And then Tim Flanders was the overall player of the year for the conference. I thought very deserving. There was quite a few games that Tim didn't play in the second half very much, and certainly didn't play in the fourth quarter. But he had a big year for us, and it was good to see him get that honor.
Questions for Willie Fritz at Sam Houston State. Coach, talk about Flanders being a finalist for the Walter Payton Award and Taylor's candidacy for the Buck Buchanan Award.
Well, I think both of them are very deserving. They've had outstanding seasons, outstanding careers here at Sam Houston. I think both of them are, amongst the top players in FCS football without question.
Talk about, I'm sorry, was there a question for Coach Fritz?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mark David from the Abilene Reporter News. I want to focus on the offensive line a little bit. In the 5 games before Texas A&M, I think you outscored your opponents 268-34. That's a lot of points. Now, I know you got playmakers in the backfield, but talk about your offensive line a little bit, please.
Well, they've really played well. We lost two All-American offensive linemen from last season, Chris Crockett and Travis Watson, and we knew this was going to be an area that we had to find some guys and develop some guys to come play, winning football for us. Caleb Hobson, first-team All-Conference. He's four-year starter here, has had his best season by far and has really done a good job with leadership. He's a big guy. He's a legit 6'6", 305 pounds, but moves really well. And then our other first-team All-Conference guy would be a guy that his proportions are a little bit different. He's about 5'11", 290 pounds. Chris Rogers. We moved him from guard to center. He makes all the calls for us. Plays with a tremendous amount of energy, and has had a great year for us. And Riley Smith made honorable mention All Conference. Guy that's been a part-time starter, Sam, but has started every game this year and had a will of a senior season, which you like to see. And Matt Bowles and Donald Jackson, a true freshman who made honorable mention All Conference, and Joey White have kind of anchored down the inside at the guard position. So those guys have played very well, and we've been very fortunate that we've stayed away from injuries with those guys also.
Thank you, Coach.
Other questions for Coach Fritz? Coach, talk a little bit about your quarterback, Brian Bell, second team quarterback, all-conference quarterback, perhaps a little bit unheralded, I guess, in some regards. But talk about the importance of him in your offense.
Well, he's had a great season for us. One of the areas that we wanted to improve on coming into the 2012 season was our passing attack. Without lessening our running ability, and Brian has certainly done a great job of that. Again, he didn't play a lot of fourth quarters, didn't play, generally speaking, midway through the third quarter on a lot of those games during that 5-game stretch where we were really playing well. But he's extremely accurate, one of the tops in the nation as far as pass efficiency, and you just feel very comfortable with him back there running the show for you. He just makes tremendous decisions for us.
Questions today for Willie Fritz? Coach, talk a little bit about the challenges that this run-oriented offense of Cal Poly presents itself. Obviously, you've been very solid against the run all year, but talk about the unique challenges of Cal Poly. Well,
it's very unique. They run a lot of triple option, not as much as people think. Trap an awful lot. It's a different offense that we've seen before, and the challenge for us, we are a big-time blitzing team, and we're going to continue to keep doing that. We just got to make sure that our fits and our slants, and whether we're zone blitzing or man blitzing, are good fits. We like to try to force the issue defensively, and we want to make sure they have to speed the decision-making process up. So that's been something that we've been really working on, and fortunately we've had an extra week to work on that as well.
Any other questions today for Willie Fritz, the head coach at Sam Houston State? All right, Willie, appreciate your time and wish you the best of luck on Saturday. We'll have a group down there at your game, including myself. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
All right, that will conclude this week's conference call. Hopefully we're holding another call again next week. Good luck to the Southland teams, and like I said, hope to speak to everyone next Tuesday. Thanks.